to share with you some more detailed posture prepping so that you can further improve your horse's posture, performance, and overall well-being. So I like to really make sure that people understand about red flags. He'd be very good. If he wasn't up here, I'd be walking up and down and flagging this quite a bit because you will remember. So red flags are areas in the horse's body that you'll normally see in the skin or below the skin that indicate there was some trauma. It's very common to have dents and dings in the points of the shoulders and the points of the buttocks. Horses run into hooves, they run into fences, they run into all sorts of things, and that comes from a deep, deep bruise, which we call hematoma. So there's so much trauma to the muscle that as the swelling resolves, it resolves into a dent that we can see because that's scar tissue. Now when we have scar tissue on the points of the shoulder, that affects a muscle that goes all the way up to the back of the jaw. So that can affect that horse's alignment of his shoulder. It can bring essentially his shoulder up toward his ear, and he'll be asymmetrical. When we have that asymmetry from the shoulders to the neck, we're going to have asymmetry and compensations behind. When horses have dents in the point of the buttock, that's a big muscle, that's the hamstring. That often will cause the pelvis to go backwards. It'll pull the hamstrings tighter so they can't sit down and use the hind leg as well. So we want to make sure that we take care of those dents and dings. Other red flags would be white hairs from ill-fitting saddles, ill-fitting blankets. You can change the saddle, change the blanket. If you don't take care of that tissue, it can still be irritated. Lots of times those white hairs will grow out. We'll see scar tissue on horses where they got cuts, scar tissues in the flank where they lost hair because they've been bit. They are all signs that there's been trauma, and just because it's healed on the outside does not mean that it's healed on the inside. The body, when it has adhesions between muscles, adhesions from the skin and the muscles, that's like having your hair pulled. So it's an irritant. Even though it might not be conscious, the nervous system goes to the path of least resistance. So it's going to go away from pain, which causes compensations in posture and gait in the horses. It also will go away from the pain and the actual mechanical resistance, or restriction. So we want to go ahead and take care of those, and it can be immediate. I have trainers that I'm on the sideline talking about horses, and the horse just isn't moving as forward and freely on the left fore. Have the rider ride up because there's a dent in the shoulder, and just do some release on the shoulder, and as the horse walks off, there's a difference in the horse. The rider can feel it, you can see it. It's immediate. It's like taking a stone out of your shoe. You're going to be a lot happier taking a stone out of their shoe. So you decrease that the compensations from the scar tissue and the adhesions and make them feel more comfortable in their skin, then they can have better posture, better alignment. One of the things we really need to look at is optimum posture starts with the horse standing four square with the cannon bones on the vertical. If that cannon bone's not on the vertical like this isn't, it puts more stress and strain on the suspensory, the deep digital flexor tendon, the superficial flexor tendon, on the sesamoids and the joints. And then it can also affect the balance of the foot, causing the long toe, low heel. So by taking care of dents and dings and the red flags in your horse, you can help them have better posture to start with from the feet up. It's going to help the farrier. It's going to help you get better alignment. What you need to make sure to do is look at your horse's symmetry from right to left. You can look at me and say, is my head on straight, or my shoulder straight, or my hip straight? The horse, I have to go here, and then run around the other side and look at him. So it takes a little bit of time to do that. Things we want to look at, key points to go ahead and compare symmetry, is the openness through the throat latch. Good boy, you're right. The length of the crest and the shape and contour of the crest, very pretty, compared to the underside. We want to look at from the top of the withers to the cap of the scapula. We want to see at least 3 fingers in all horses, sometimes 4, and you can see him putting his head down and his back coming up some. We want to see that. We want to see the alignment in here. So you compare one side to the other, we'll often see a discrepancy. There might be 2 fingers on one side of the height and 3 fingers on the other. Even ponies should have at least 2 fingers. Mutton withered is not poor conformation, it's poor posture. You want to go ahead and look at the distance between the point of the hip and the last rib. You want to see how much your hand can fit in there, because that's his waist, and then how deep that is compared to the other side. And then you can also look at the contour and the angle of the hind end, especially these places here, this length and this length, they're key points. So we'll just have him go ahead and turn around. And you probably won't be able to see too much difference, but you can go ahead and step over there just a little bit, buddy. Right. Good boy. Very nice. So you just have a look. Now he's standing a little bit more relaxed. He's standing more in his natural posture. But you can look at the distance between and this throat latch. A tight throat latch is posture. It's poor posture, not typically poor conformation. We can look at where the withers are. Now it can be because he's standing up a little bit better, but there's a little bit of a difference in how his shoulder comes into his withers and the height of his withers. He's actually a bit taller on this side than he is on the other side, even as he relaxes. You can see how more of my fingers fit in through there. And he's a little heavier in the cap of the scapula here, muscling-wise. His waist is about the same, yes, which is nice. And I'd say the angles of his hips is about the same. So you really want to look for symmetry. Posture is the language of the horse. If your horse is not standing comfortably 4 square, then that's going to tell you. Especially if they have been and you increase your fitness or your activity, and then they start compensating in your posture, that's a red flag. So they're little helpful hints for you to remember all the time when you have your hands and your eyes on your horse.